Quick time.
Mm-hmm.
There's no keyboard near the thing. There's only food.
Sorry. I was hungry.
I'm glad nobody's watching us yet. By the way, in terms of coffee mugs, Micah, I think you'll appreciate this.
Yes! I'm so proud. Yay.
I did it. I finally did it. And you know what? It's the best purchase I've made in a really long time. The Ember mug.
It's in black. I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
Oh.
It keeps my tea, my coffee hot. It tells me when it's ready. It's the best.
It's such a vanity.
Really?
It's so worth it.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. They're like $75, so they're expensive, but it is absolutely worth it. It warms your coffee or tea to whatever temperature you want, and then it keeps it there
to the last drop.
That temperature.
How is that possible?
There's a little, so like the cup itself.
The podcast at this point because I'm going to be here for an hour.
Okay. I want to know after.
We'll do it on the show.
Okay, let's do it on the show. Okay,
for an hour, Renee. Fair. Golly.
I'm just saying,
let me know.
Do it on the air.
Is everybody ready?
Is everyone recording?
Yes.
All right.
All right. It is Thursday, August 17th, 2018. I'm Micah Sargent, and right now we are going to talk about the upcoming Apple September 2018 iPhone event. We're going to talk about, maybe some things that you should do for protecting your data and why we have to be the ones to do it. Lots of stuff. Apple Pencil support on iPhone 10, maybe even talk about smart coffee makers. Who knows? Because this is the iMore Show. Joining me back again this week, the pigs aren't flying, folks, because Lori Gill is here. How you doing, Lori?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm glad to be back on the show this week. 2 weeks in a row, so my streak has restarted. It's like when you're playing a video game where you check in every single day and then you accidentally miss a day and you're like, no, I have to start my streak over. So,
in order to relate with the kids, that's also like on Snapchat, where if you miss a day of talking with your friends, you lose that little fire emoji that's connected to your streak. People get very serious about that.
I've lost my fire.
you lost your fire, but it's slowly rebuilding. You're adding some kindling to it now. It's going to be a nice big bonfire soon. We are also joined by the one and only Renee Ritchie. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm so grateful and so happy that Lori has earned the power of streak. Level up, bing, 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 bing.
Lori has earned the power of streak. Yeah. Excellent. And I cannot tell you how excited I am to say that the one and only Georgia_Dow is here with us today. Georgia Dow, how are you?
Haven't seen Final Space. You should watch it. I'm so excited to be here. It's been so long.
I know.
I have no fire. I'm fire deprived by now. I'm inflammable at this stage.
We'll help you get it built back up as we go ahead and break into the topics of the show. First up, we should talk about this upcoming iPhone event that we know is going to be happening.
Doing that again?
Yeah, something about like maybe new iPhones. I don't know.
Repetitive Apple.
Yeah, I think they're doomed, honestly, Renee.
They should do something new. Like, I don't know, maybe come out with a coffee maker.
Okay, Apple coffee maker, you've got me sold.
Yeah, but, I just want that now. Thanks.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and talk about what we think we might see from the iPhone event. Renee, for some reason, I think that you might know a couple things. Like you might have some thoughts about this. So we'll start with you.
Do we want to outline what we want to see, or do you want to just go through them like product by product? What works best for you, my mind?
Ooh, see, those both sound good. Let's do what we want to see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that'll be fun. So you still are on the spot.
Okay.
Renee. What do you want to see from the iPhone?
So rumor has it we're getting 3 iPhones again this year, but instead of 2 updates and a new like next generation iPhone, we're going to get the next generation of the next generation. So an iPhone 10 successor plus an iPhone 10 Plus successor, and then they're going to go back to the lower entry-level model because this year's iPhone 10 is too expensive to hang around. So they're going to do an LCD version that's going to come in multiple iPhone 5C-like colors. And I think all of that is great. The 2 things I really want to see, and I'm going to take 2 because they're kind of different. One is the true depth camera. I want to be able to do my AR game on the back as well as the front. And I want Apple Pencil support so that I can get my sketch on even when I'm on a, super mobile.
Yes, I think that those are all great things. Lori Gill, what about you?
So I think, Renee, maybe you can clarify for me. So the iPhone C type color iPhone 10, the low cost iPhone 10, is that the iPhone SE with a different name?
No, because it's huge. It's like 6.1 inches of screen. It's not the 4 inches. It's in between the iPhone and the iPhone Plus. It's the iPhone Goldilocks.
the perfect match.
It's 6.1 inches. So 5.5, 6.1, and 6.5, I think, are the sizes.
I think everybody knows that I want an iPhone SE too.
Yeah.
Just give me the 4-inch phone, please. Please.
Yeah.
Pretty please.
Delete the bezels and give her that.
Yes.
Georgia Dow, what about you? What do you want to see from an iPhone?
So less bezel, a glowing iPhone logo on the back. Oh wait, no, that was like from 2016.
You haven't got your glowing logo yet.
I'm never gonna get my glowing logo. I tried to make it myself. It didn't go very well to that. I'd like to have just a better camera, and I would love also the pencil support, because when I game on my phone, it's nice not to have my fingers in the middle of the screen.
I've heard a rumor that she also wants the lightning port to work as a taser, just for crowd control, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I would love for it not to be on the bottom, but that's never going to happen, because then it tilts. I can't. When I do my sessions, I put my phone like down and then lean it, and it's like tilts, and then it makes me tilt.
You want a flat bottom again?
I'd like it to be somewhere else. It's never going to happen. But again, if I get to ask, I'd be like, yeah, or give me feet on my iPhone, and then we can watch Android and Samsung, copy that.
So, Georgia, to get off track for just a minute, you put your phone in the air and you have some kind of, it's not a ring. What's on the back of your phone?
Oh, I don't know which one this one's called. I don't think this one's the love handle. This one is the handle Pat Pal, and it's just so that I can hold my phone and one-handed do stuff with it.
That's pretty cool.
I love it. I love it. I would. Yeah, it's the only thing is that because I have the fan, it doesn't come. This is which one is this one, Renee? The one that has the different colors.
That's the Russell Holly multicolor
case. Isn't it pretty? But it has absolutely no protection to the front. So if I drop my phone in the front, it's gonna shatter. But I love it just because it's pretty.
Now, are you known to drop phones or chuck them or anything like that?
Yeah, I've dropped so many. I dropped so many. The worst one though was when I tried one of the. What was it, 10 South ones, and we did the testing.
No, yeah, she tried a ballistic impact case, and so she dropped the phone, and instead of it protecting it, it just shattered. My favorite Georgia Dow dropping phone story is when she had donuts and a phone, and she was dropping both, and she chose to save the donuts.
I did.
I would have done the same thing.
I love
that. And then, you know what? I was so angry that because they weren't even the good donuts. This was the leftover donuts. Everyone ate the good donuts. This was like the jelly donut that was left over and stuff like that, or the one with the like cinnamon and like raisins that no one even considers a donut. And I was so angry. I actually
bagel.
Yeah, exactly. The bagel donut. Who makes those people? People that hate people. And then I just threw out all the donuts. I was so angry. I didn't even eat them. I made the wrong choice. Donuts.
You saved the donuts, and it was all for naught.
I know.
Oh my God, what about you, Micah Sargent? What do you want to see in the next iPhone?
Oof. Well,
you had to take a breath there.
I want it to have a dog whistle. I want it to make me coffee. No. I want to see some color, for goodness sake. I really want to see some color. I don't know.
Like, what do you mean by color?
Oh, when I say color, I mean the back glass, which doesn't help because I have a case on mine right now.
Yeah, that's how desperate you are for color.
To have some color on it, yeah.
But you chose navy.
Yes, I did.
Don't you color shame him?
Sorry. There
are certain colors that okay, so here's my reasoning. When I first get the phone, I'm not keen on having it stand out too much, just in case I'm ever in a place where someone would be like, iPhone 10 snatch kind of thing. Or if, if it's like, I don't like to have my phone stand out just in case it sort of like draws attention and could get stolen. Because I've seen that happen before in the town that I live in. Someone was at the bar with their phone next to them. Someone walks in and then walks out and like snatches the phone. It was awful. So anyway, I try to go with more subdued colors, but if I had a green backed iPhone 10, like the green that they used to make, like the iPod Nanos in aluminum.
Pretty color.
Oh my God, I would be in heaven. I would rock that thing proudly. No case, hashtag no case, because I couldn't help but show it off. So I would love to see some.
I want the orchid color.
No, I will get purple, and Mike and I will stand together, and we'll have like the Lex Luthor, the Hulk, Brainiac phone.
Yes, I'm so down. See, so I think color is fun, and it adds some like personality and personal choices there. Other than that, I've talked about this. Renee and I just talked about this on Clockwise. The front-facing camera has the. I'm gonna sneeze.
The front-facing camera is allergic.
The front-facing camera gives me some allergic issues, so I want it to be hypoallergenic the next time. It has an IR dot projector. It has a flood
illuminator.
Yeah, thank you. Flood illuminator and a bunch of other cool stuff that lets it sense the depth of my face and can tell where my nose is in comparison to my eyes and map all of that to let me do Face ID. I want the back camera to have that same technology so that we can get super depthy with with all of our experiences on the back phone. Like Apple is very into AR right now. So let's go ahead and make AR better on the back side of the phone, because if it's got that flood say it again,
flood illuminator,
thank you, that flux capacitor and the IR dot projector, we've seen how that works in low light settings, and like that's the biggest issue with AR tracking on the back facing camera. So the light could be not that great, but we could still have a fantastic experience as we're doing our little AR fun things in our houses and in other places. So
that and the Heisenberg compensator would be great.
Yes, we need the Heisenberg compensator and maybe a time turner and Thanos's, I don't know what that is. The Infinity Gauntlet. There we go. Those. Oh no, we're all gone.
Half of us are gone.
I wonder how that would work for me, given that I'm mixed race. Like, would part of the one side of myself would go away? Okay, that's it. That's what I would like to see from the iPhone. But what can we expect to see, Renee? What are the rumors you probably expect from the September event?
No, I think we touched on all the major ones. I mean, the other ones outstanding are like 512 gigabytes, because at a certain point, storage goes up, but also the chips getting made are just bigger, and it becomes more expensive to find older, smaller chips. And of course, Apple might surprise us with something else, but I think those are all the big points. It's more like the watch that I'm curious about, because LTE was the big thing it was missing, and it got that last year. So now I think after all these internal updates, we're getting ready to look for external updates and maybe start deleting some of the bezels. What do you think, Lori? Deleting some of the bezels from the watch?
There's that point where it kind of gets to, we perfected the design. That's how I feel the iPhone 10 is. It's a perfected design, and there's no reason to do it any different. And I kind of feel like the Apple Watch has a perfected design. I'm not sure what would be the point of taking away more of the bezel.
Make the screen bigger.
But why? I mean, so right, but it's already like pretty big for this. I'm not saying that it's big, but for the size of that tiny little thing that's on our watches, it fills up a lot of that space. And at some point, you're just kind of wrapping it around the edges, and then you're starting to get into that sort of fear of touching it when you didn't mean to kind of idea. So I don't know. I don't know if we need a bigger bezel. I feel like the iPhone or the Apple Watch, in my opinion, the Apple Watch has reached design perfection and doesn't need to be any different.
I have a question for everybody. If there is battery budget to spend, would you prefer Apple spend it on proper UI kit apps like are on iPhone, or on an always-on clock?
Always on, always on, always on, always on. I'm going to say it loud so no one can say the other thing.
I'm with you though, Micah. I will be cheering a clock that it is its one weakness, as the Apple Watch fails as a watch. because I have to
glance at it.
Right? I can't glance. I can't look. I have to move my wrist. I'm in session. I just want to be able to know what time it is. Is that too much to ask? It's like, really, please.
This is called a watch. I just want to be able to
see. The glowing Apple logo.
Oh, that would be a hard choice if I had to choose. But for the watch, I would actually take.
That'd be on the back of your wrist. Nobody could see it.
Be a watch. Be a watch first. Though I have to say, for against Lori, though, the Lori's always right. But in this case, I find it too plump. It's plump and juicy, and I love that. But it's too plump. It's just way too thick. I'm wearing something that has long sleeves, and I now have this thing that is like sticking so far out.
But everybody wants Apple to make things twice as thick to put more battery in, Georgia. You can't go against the will of the internet.
You know what?
I want both. I want both. I want it thinner and more battery. It can't be this plump and
juicy for this long. It really has to. They have to work on flattening that out because it's difficult if you wear a long sleeve shirt and it's uncomfortable because it keeps on rubbing against it to that. So I would say, flatter. I don't care about the screen size. For me, again, I have small, tiny, minute, like halfling-like hands. It's fine. I think that probably for people, that have large finger size, they might find that it is not enough real estate for them to
What about Apple Pencil support on the Apple Watch?
We need a little tiny pencil that fits in the Apple Watch so you can do that.
Just slides in. Like,
I like that idea.
First world problems. I wasn't able to wear my Apple Watch at my sister's wedding because it would not fit underneath my sleeve. And so it was like this uncomfortable thing on my left hand with my sleeve being reached out.
And you can't put it on top of the sleeve. No. Because 1, and 2, you wouldn't be able to use it. So, yeah.
I think 1, 2, and 3 are and then 4 is that you would be able to use it.
Yes, I'm with you on that.
What about new health sensors? I know, like, the thing is that people have been talking about new health sensors, but my understanding is a lot of the technology people say is ready just isn't ready. And it's going to take years to be ready. But I mean, there's blood sugar. What else could we put on there? What's like
my most important thing is, and it's something that does exist, the cardia something. Say it again.
Which I don't have enough information yet.
Like an EKG kind of thing?
Yeah, that's what it's called. So there's a company called, I can't remember what the company is. I'm sorry, but this company produces both an Apple Watch band and a separate little device that looks like a little rectangle, and you put your 2 fingers on it, and it runs EKG tests for you. So when I had my little heart scare and was in the emergency room a couple times for it, they of course did EKGs there, and it would, whenever you're dealing with an arrhythmia, that can crop up at any time. And so it would be handy to be able to sort of get a buzz like, hey, your heart rate is up and it's because of this, arrhythmia throwing things off. So if my Apple, because the reason why I upgraded from the from Series 0 to the Series 3 was because of the better heart rate tracking features after I had my trips to the emergency room. And so if I could take that even further now and get EKG involved as well, that would be incredible. I do think that it would be awesome to do the glucose readings, but I know that that's very complicated to do without some sort of, insert into your actual body. So that might be a ways off, but there's EKG technology out there right now. If we just added that to the Apple Watch, I'd be like, oh, now I have to upgrade again.
So
skin monitoring for when you've been out in the sun too long and your Apple Watch can detect whether or not you're getting a sunburn. That would be
that's
cool.
Really cool. Yeah.
Except the part under the watch would always be fine.
No, but if it tested if the front of the watch tested what the UV levels were and sent you a little reminder, have you used sunscreen? Or if you've used it, you type it into the watch and it says, you know what? You now need to add more sunscreen. Some people don't know that the sunscreen that they've added, the level of thickness, and then after a while, it goes away and you have to add more. That would be really cool, actually. I like that. Yeah.
What about sleep tracking?
Yes.
Sleep tracking.
I do want to talk about sleep tracking, but I really want to touch on going back to the UV thing. Like, a lot of people don't know why UV is an issue, and it's kind of terrifying. So when UV radiation hits your skin, the problem is it goes in there and it literally ruins the DNA and RNA in your skin. Like whenever you're getting a sunburn, the reason why that's happening is because all the way down to that level, your DNA is being mutated and your RNA is being mutated by that radiation from the sun. And so the reason you peel afterward is because your body's going, ooh, we have to get these mutated, broken cells off. We need to get them away. And that's why skin cancer is such a big issue, because it's messing with your processes at the base level and causing them to grow incorrectly, which then of course can lead to skin cancer. So UV radiation is not something to mess with, folks. Do wear sunscreen. And if our Apple Watches could help us with that, that'd be great. Now on to sleep tracking. Renee, I want sleep tracking so bad. Like if there's two things that I want more than anything: always on Apple Watch for time reading, and sleep tracking, which I realize those are like battery issues.
Yeah,
because it's hard to have your watch hooked up so that it's charging
always on while you're sleeping,
and then my arm has to I have to do this always, and then
but maybe you can you can put it in a low power mode. Maybe you could put it in a sleep mode.
But then when does it charge? Like when do you charge?
Yeah, I'm not sure Apple Watch will ever get sleep tracking, because there's never a time to charge it under that circumstance.
It would have to last for days, right?
Yeah, like sleep trackers are usually dedicated sleep trackers, or maybe they also have a step counter or something like that, but they use a very minimal battery, and they usually use the cell batteries that are in traditional watches. So that means like they last 30 days before you need to replace them. And Apple Watch, there's just no circumstance under which an Apple Watch could
sorry, no, go ahead.
That an Apple Watch could actually last that long. So if you want to track your sleeping and you want to track everything that you do during the day and get all your notifications, you can never charge your phone or your Apple Watch. So I just don't see sleep tracking ever working for Apple Watch.
So what I did, because I used underscore day, not to be confused with underscore Georgia underscore Dow, but at night, and then when I woke up, I immediately put my iPhone on to charge while I would get up, drink some water, walk around, do some chores, and then go back and pick it up.
But for most of those apps, the ones that are on your phone, you can plug your phone in, put it into the corner of your bed, and keep it charging. For your watch, you just charged it during the daytime.
No, as soon as I woke up, put it on to charge, and then like half an hour later, it was fully, because it charges fast, and I don't use it. My Apple Watch lasts 2 days anyway. Unless I do like 3 workouts a day, it'll last like 2 days.
Mine usually lasts about 2 days.
That's about right for me too. Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe we're getting there. Maybe not.
I don't know. I would love to see Apple. I don't think they're going to, but I would love to see Apple just make a sleep tracker like that's for your bed. There have been a few companies who've made them. I've tried a couple and they really were not great. But that would completely negate the issue of having or work close with a company to have a company produce them, sort of like how they've been doing lately.
The sleep band for Apple.
Yeah, exactly. But like I want the one that you put it underneath your mattress, and it doesn't just do sleep tracking. It also tests your respiration. It does the whole everything that is involved with the stages of sleep and how those changes happen. Like that's how, other than just looking at your brain levels or brain signals, brain waves. Go ahead, Georgia.
I think that Renee has a really or I don't know, Micah, if you said it, but like it's a good idea to put it, if you put it on the band. And Apple makes it, because on your wrist is better than even on your back. It can tell then when you're doing the micro movements and you're in REM sleep. It's able to tell when you're doing your waking parts of sleep, because you're moving around more, and our hands will move around more than anything else. Plus, it's also doing our heart rate. So you already have that already set up to that. If you have it on your band, that charges during the daytime because you don't care if it's dead. The watch, you don't have to worry about that. And you end up getting both. And the watch could be on sleep mode during that, and it's barely used to that. It would be pretty cool.
I love that. So during the day, so we've got the AirPower charging mat. And so my sleep band is sitting on the AirPower charging mat during the day. And, I go about my day. And then when I get into bed, I do the quick release, slide on the sleep band, put on my watch, and then go to bed. Yeah. Interesting.
We're getting there.
Something, because the battery wouldn't run out on your watch throughout the night as much.
Yeah, if the band was doing most of the work, then yeah. There's probably something there for sure. Okay.
Do you want to do iPad next, or do you want to talk about things they probably won't update next?
Let's do iPad next, and then we'll do SAD next after that.
iPad, Mac, and then okay. So iPad, I think, will also get the the iPhone 10 redesign, where they delete the bezels. But instead of making the screen bigger, I think they're going to use the opportunity to make the casing smaller. So you retain all the power, all the productivity, but it becomes just a little bit more portable. The only question I have is, it's easy to say like delete the bezels, but there's stuff in there. There's components in there, and they need to go somewhere. And one of the real reasons why Apple started removing headphone jacks is when you get to a full-size screen, not a lot of space under there, especially not for the way Apple designs them when you include rumble packs and all those other things. And yeah, I just called the Taptic Engine a rumble pack, not some pack. So will the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack go with the bezels?
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm sure that I'm going to get some trouble for this one, but I personally almost never use the headphones with my iPad. That's on the very rare occasion when I'm on a flight and I'm watching something on my iPad instead of a computer or something like that. So getting rid of the headphone jack on the iPad, I think, is probably less. It's going to, if that happens, it's going to be less of an ordeal than it was when we lost it on the iPhone.
For DJs.
Yeah, you got that.
Well, I got me turntable, but now I got no headphone jack. Screw you, Apple.
Yeah, you got that.
That
was great.
That's true. They are great accents.
Yeah. What do you guys? Any strong feelings?
I don't use my. Don't send me hate. Send it to Micah. Micah's accepting all of my angry. No, I don't use my iPad at all anymore. I don't think that I know even where it is.
I'm leaving.
So
yeah, bye. Yeah, we're gone.
My husband uses it almost all the time. That is his main machine. And
the key to successful marriage is to have alternate devices. One on a Mac, one on an iPad.
I know. And so I just don't like the experience on it. Okay. So I haven't really thought about what to add because I've already discarded.
What about the true depth camera so that we can finally get our Memoji Animoji on the big screen?
Yeah, that's why I was gonna I didn't know if you had mentioned that and you were sort of trying to.
Well, you'd have to because if you delete the bezels, the home button goes with it.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. See, okay. I would be very happy with this for many reasons. One, because I think that it would mean that Apple would finally say, okay, we need to let Face ID work in both portrait and landscape. So like they would bring that to the iPad first, hopefully. And then we can bring it to the iPhone afterward, because I don't want to have my phone held a certain way in order for it to do the dot projection.
That was just a limitation. Like they couldn't, it would take a lot more work to make it work in both orientations. So they expressly trained they optimized the camera and expressly trained the neural engine to have like a fixed target for facial rec. So it makes it more complicated when you can do both orientations. But I think it's been a year, so hopefully they will have trained the model better.
Yeah,
it's like training a pet. They don't code these things anymore, Micah. It's like training a pet. You got to get the Chihuahuas to understand both of those are now your daddy.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. Last night, so my dogs are obsessed with popcorn, and it's gotten to a point now where Henry not only knows the sound of popcorn popping in the microwave, but he knows the sound that the microwave makes when it's done. And if I don't go to the microwave right away to get it when the popcorn's done, he will come up to me, whine, and then come up and like bat his paw at me and then like look toward the kitchen. Like, can you please go get that popcorn so I can have a piece of it? So
I'm going to ask that question. You're feeding your dog popcorn?
Occasionally, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you got a problem with that?
No, there's no popcorn judgment here.
Good. Yeah.
Safe zone.
So movie time is like a time for the pups as well.
Yes, they love it. Yeah, and it's I don't like popcorn with a bunch of like nasty stuff in it. So I get a very normal, like it's like low salt blend or whatever of popcorn. So their stomachs aren't hurt by it or anything like that.
You don't eat it in the shower though, because popcorn doesn't do well.
Popcorn does not do well in the shower. That is one shower food that does not happen.
Do you know that from experience?
From experience? I'm not going to answer that question. I will say that I would be happy with True Depth on the front facing camera or on the iPad as well. We were talking about like Animoji and stuff, because I really don't like to use FaceTime, but on the occasions that I have, I like to do it from the iPad because I can set the iPad on my smart keyboard and then be able to move my hands and be free and do the things that I need to do while the iPad is sort of mounted and looking at me. And so if it was also like allowing me to do those fun features and stuff, I think that'd be pretty neat.
Cool. Outside requests, one is some sort of capacitive trackpad feature on the smart keyboard so that I could maybe swipe the space bar to move the cursor around. I think that would be dope. And also, if we could make a next generation Apple Pencil, and please call it the #2 pencil.
Yes.
So cute.
What would the next gen bring, Renee?
Pardon me?
What would the next gen bring? What would we have that's different from Gen 1?
I mean, if I channel my inner Serenity Caldwell, I would ask for different artistic nibs.
Like a brush?
No, only elementary school kids have an eraser on the back of their pencils, but a convenience key that you could program to do erasing if you really wanted it, but other people could program to do other things, like remote control a Samsung presentation.
If you're not watching the video,
yeah.
If you're not watching the video version of this show, you're missing out on George's reactions to Renee.
And Renee's eye rolls at George's reactions.
Oh, contempt. He has contempt.
So when you go to art, so like, yes, in elementary school, everyone has an eraser on the back of their pencil, but when you go to art school, they take those away, like the training wheels that they are, and they give you like a gum or like different, many different kinds of erasers, some that you can reshape, some that are gums, and you hold that in another hand. So you draw, you design, you draft, you do all these things.
You're just art shaming me. I heard you art shaming. Those that go to art school and those others don't really know what they're talking about.
Georgia, when you spend time. And I love the way that the iPad apps do that, because you draw and then you tap with the other fingers, and it feels very much like a design or art like experience.
Can we also have like, and this we won't get, but like that the nib kind of bends so that it doesn't look stupid when you're charging it on your iPad and it just sticks straight out ridiculously.
If it drooped down.
Georgia hates that. She wants to karate chop them.
I want to break it off. Whenever I see it, I'm just like, I just want to go up to someone and just crack it right off of there. I might have an anger issue.
I think if it hung down, it'd be even more awkward.
That's the one way that your rage like presents itself. It's very specific. It's like, only when I see this Apple Pencil thing do I ever experience rage.
I am not the only one.
It's like those spiders who die in nature.
It's so many levels of wrong. It looks wrong.
Renee, I just shared a couple links in our chat here of some mock-ups I did way back in 2016 of some Apple Pencils where the band comes in rose gold, silver, and then also a space gray a band with a black Apple Pencil.
That's how you make everything look. That's how you make things pro.
That would look sick. That would look great. And I like the idea of different nibs that you could change over because they unscrew. So that would be a really cool idea.
Like a brush nib.
There's nothing wrong with the back end being able to erase. I'm just saying.
I agree.
There's nothing wrong.
Yeah, you don't have to use it, Renee, but let's have it available for everyone else if they want to.
I think
that's why I suggested the convenience key, because you could erase.
I do like that idea. It's sort of like how Wacom.
But I don't want to have to press a key. I want the Apple Pencil to work like a pencil, and I may not have gone to art school, but I have used pencils a lot in my life. And
look at that pencil with an eraser on it. Wow.
Look at this thing.
Did you buy those for your kids in elementary school?
I did.
Okay.
It's true. But when I make a mistake, the first thing I do is I turn it over.
Not use those erasers because they're horrible and they destroy the paper. So you use a gum eraser like all good people.
These are the new expensive pencils, and these erasers are actually really nice.
My chihuahuas are in college, so I did not buy these for them. I bought these for me, these pencils, and they have an eraser on them.
Renee, I wish I had my gum eraser nearby because I'm on your side. Now that Micah has joined the Georgia side, I'm taking a side too, and I agree with Renee.
You.
And there's the title, the Georgia side.
I want to know. I want people to give comments. What do you think about this? I want to see. Yeah.
Okay.
Because
#war.
War. Let's find out. Which team are you on? Team Renee. That would be ridiculous. Or Team Georgia.
It's Team Renee. It's Team Renee Lori and Team Georgia Micah.
Okay, fair. But really, it's about pencil on the back or eraser on the back or not. That's it. Just let me know.
So actually, to cut you off and to add one more feature that would be really cool. Instead of an eraser.
Oh Lord.
contactless charging to alleviate your issue that you're talking about with the lightning plug that looks like it's going to just break off. How about wireless charging for it?
Oh, for the
God, yes. Lori for the win.
Yes.
You could put it on, and you could put it on the iPad to charge.
Oh, can we go to another set then? Can it bloody well magnetic? I'm like, can I say bloody well? Is that okay?
Only
can I bloody well have it just like stick somewhere? Find some way to stick to the damn iPad so don't lose the goddamn.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Well, okay, so you can say bloody, but the other one you just said.
Okay.
Do you have to beat me? Where's the Mario coin? I'll bleep myself somewhere.
Oh God, no, Georgia, no. Are you playing sounds over your phone again?
So while Georgia is trying to find her sounds, let's do a quick Thrifter.
Yeah, let's break away to talk about Thrifter.
Yeah.
By now, you've probably heard about Thrifter. It's a way to save money on everything from gadgets to home goods by shopping based on value, not hype. That means you're going to get those real deals, not those deals that are really just making you think you're saving money when you're not really. If you sign up at Thrifter.com, you're going to get thoughtfully selected deals from places like Amazon and Best Buy, and also a heads up about upcoming products that are launching. It's all the stuff and none of the fluff, and it's over at Thrifter.com. Lori is looking at the Thrifter site to try and find some awesome stuff there to talk about. So we'll head to Lori to hear about a cool deal from Thrifter.
There are so many sales going on right now that it's hard to pick one, but I'm going to say that you can actually get the Bose Quiet Comfort 35-2 wireless headphones for only $299 right now, and Thrifter found that deal for us. And that it's a fan favorite at in iMore, so it's a really big deal that you can get this one for $50 off. That's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, all the Bose QC headphones are excellent, and these are wireless, which is even better. That's awesome. So if you head to @Thrifter Daily on Twitter, or if you're in the UK @Thrifter UK, or if you're in Canada, then you can head to @Thrifter CA, and you'll get links that are specific to deals and links that are specific to those places. And again, that's Thrifter.com to get thoughtfully selected deals from places like Amazon and Best Buy Daily. All the stuff, none of the fluff, at Thrifter. Thanks so much to Thrifter for sponsoring this week's episode of the iMore Show.
Thanks to Micah's blatant Canadian distaste, I now want to know why our domain name isn't Canada.eh.
Okay, listen, there's no distaste. I stand my Canadian pals.
Okay.
I'm always
stand
STAN. It's something the kids say, Georgia. I don't know what it means. Like my siblings say, I stand this, I stand that. I think it means like you really, really respect it. You really like it. Somebody out there is going to be like, no, it means that you hate these things. And I'm like, oh, great. I got it.
Because Canada's so woke.
Canada is so woke. I just love my Canadian pals. I'm always bragging about having Canadian
the US
pals.
is based about it.
Oh, there you go. So let's talk about
the Mac.
Well, no, I don't want to talk about the Mac. I actually want to talk about how we're the ones in charge of protecting our data. Apple is great on privacy, but what about App Store developers? Tell me more about this, Renee Ritchie.
Oh, God. All right. So Bloomberg did an article. So there was a lot of, ever since Cambridge Analytica, people are starting to get woken up to privacy issues. It feels sort of like in the Windows XP days when people were first starting to care about internet security. And since then, there's been a lot of, Reuters was just talking about Google and location privacy and whether you're really turning it off. I mean, every time I open up a new Google panel, it has things on that I swear I turned off in a different Google panel. So there's a lot of articles about these things, but Apple has a pretty good stance on privacy. They believe it's a human right. They don't want anything to do with our data. They'll either encrypt it or they'll just simply not take it. Or if they have to have it, they'll get rid of it as fast as possible. And that's generally been a very forward-thinking, very industry-leading position. But we got to get our Apple in the controversial headline. And one of the few ways that this can be done is with the App Store, because Apple allows developers to get permission to use our data. Photo apps can ask for access to our photos. Calendar apps can ask for access to our calendar.
But can you say that again, Renee? Because I think that people miss when they see these headlines with Apple and privacy. You said something that's really wonderful that Apple does is it doesn't just give everyone access to everything.
It makes you ask for permission. You have to explicitly ask for location, for contacts, for everything. And that's coming to the Mac this year as well. The Mac had half of it. They're getting the other half of it now. But if you do grant permission, photo apps get access to your photos, and calendar apps get access. Like if you use Fantastical, you have to give it permission to use your calendars. And if you use CardHop, which Michael Simmons was on the show, I use CardHop every day. I had to give it permission to use my contacts. Otherwise, it simply wouldn't work. So this Bloomberg article alleged that Apple was being derelict in its duties and was not the privacy hero we needed, because they were letting developers have access to this material. And it could, and some people put things like social security numbers or alarm codes into their contacts, and developers now have access to this. And
if you allow them to.
Yeah, if you allow them to. And yeah, they need it, because if I downloaded CardHop and it was empty, I'd be mad.
Yes. You had to manually put in every single contact on your own.
So mad.
You wouldn't use it.
And yes, it can be abused. Everything can be abused. If I give an app, like, there's a lot of online photo retouching apps. If you give it access to all your photos, it's going to see all your photos. So you've got to be a grown-ass adult and make careful decisions about who you give access to or not.
I know. Georgia. Where's the bleeper?
Yeah, Georgia, you brought some curses into the show.
Anyways, it's a dumb. I don't want to call any story dumb, but it's poorly thought out. First of all, it's not just contacts. Like I said, picking contacts is arbitrary. It's any app can get permission for anything that it needs. And also the solutions are easy to say, like they're like Apple should only give access to email and telephone. But then your address book apps wouldn't work. And also if I'm a social network and I have your telephone or address, I can suck in everything about you anyway, because it's all connected. So.
But that would also be useless. If you want to find out where to go to someone's house and it's not there, then I would be angry.
Yeah, like if Mike and I have our coffee taster social network, and I try to sign up and he's not there, I'd be sad.
Yeah, there's two parts, I think, to kind of the revelation of the Bloomberg article that Renee commented on, and one of them is definitely. While these sort of big bloggers and news organizations are saying Apple's not doing a good job of protecting our privacy, and here's why. It's the onus is on us to make sure that we are protecting our privacy, because it doesn't matter if you're on an iPhone or an Android phone or anything. You're the one who's in charge of of protecting your data, and it's you who gets to go make those decisions as to whether or not these devices are tracking you, whether or not you're sharing your contacts and things like that. You're the one in charge of making sure that you're doing that, and to assume that any organization isn't doing that's you. So you are the one making those decisions about who you're letting access that information. It's not Apple's fault. It's not Google's fault. Google has its own separate issues that we'll have a whole show that takes on. But we are in charge of it. And the second part that I did also want to comment on is, Renee, something you maybe didn't hit on, but it's because Apple is such a champion of protecting our privacy that they are being attacked by these news organizations who are trying to find fault in their desire to be such a protective organization. So the fact that some news organizations will sort of like, Apple's not doing its job right, that's because they're doing their job right. And somebody wants to make that not true because they want to nitpick it. When you're doing it right, you're going to be scrutinized even more than like you say all the time. Nobody ever talks about, well, it's been popping up in the news, but it's less likely that people are talking about how Google will be tracking this, that, or the other. It's because they're not doing it right. So people know that they're not doing it right, and they're just going to ignore it. But when Apple is doing the best they can do to do it right, they're getting highly scrutinized, and people are kind of coming up with problems that really aren't necessarily Apple's fault.
I mean, Google and Facebook are huge Apple developers. You should definitely lock them out of getting access to your stuff.
Yeah, no more Facebook on your iPhone. Yeah, Nobody's allowed to have Facebook on your iPhone.
No more any of those things.
Let's see what happens when you do that.
Oh, hi EU antitrust court.
Any last thoughts on that before we move on to the next topic?
No, I think it's something that I'm happy that we're talking about. I think that people are relatively complacent about this. I think that people are like, "Ah, it's too much work. I'm just going to trust these companies because they're good people." But really, the reason that Google got rid of "Don't be evil" is because
It's convenient to be evil.
so you have to be careful. I think that the next step is in us guarding our own privacy. The problem is that it's a really unfortunate thing that kind of you've given it away by the time that you realize that you want to take it back, and it's somewhat too late to that. But I'm happy we're having the discussion. I think that the discussion was too late with our own need to that, but at least we're discussing it. I think that Lori's absolutely right. They're going after the wrong thing, and the problem when the press goes after something and it is inaccurate to what it is saying is that then we're not looking at the truth to the scenario of where we actually can make changes in areas where we really do need people to take a look at to that. If people did not, if Apple locked out every single app from being able to do something, we wouldn't have any more calendar apps. We wouldn't have any more contact apps and stuff like that. And people would be furious.
Yeah.
So true.
They just go to Android and give up all their data anyway.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on. One thing that we should briefly touch on here, I've seen a lot of people talking about it, and it sort of started out with "oh mans" and then quickly became like, "oh, this is a good thing." We're not seeing group FaceTime in the first run out of iOS 12 and macOS Mojave. So when these products ship a little bit later, it's like, or we know that the first versions of them are not going to have group FaceTime. So it seems like what we've got here is Apple realizing that it's just not ready and it needs to make sure that things are, running very well. And I think that we can speak to the fact that things aren't currently in a great way. We've done some group FaceTime experiments and they don't always work out as we expected, and people like their things to work, right, Georgia?
Nobody has died. Let's just be very clear. Nobody
yeah,
died.
we're all still alive. We're all still alive, but people expect things to work. That's right?
Yeah, you really only have one chance to make a first impression when you're rolling something out. It is better to wait, even though people will be angry. But again, we're kind of the like, we're gonna grab our pitchforks pretty fast because we have a lot of free time on our hands. But when you roll it out, you want it to work, you want it to be effortless. If not, everyone's then telling the story about how Apple has botched this and they're not great at doing software, and this is why it didn't work out to that. And then we're furious about that. So yeah, I would rather them wait, make it nice, make it seamless, make it really stable, and then people are happy.
And we like happy people.
Yeah, though I do remember yelling about copy and paste, so I might be one of those pitchfork people every once in a while.
AirPlay 2 and iMessage Sync last year, those were supposed to come out with 11.0, and I think they came out with 11.3 or maybe 4. But they actually worked when they came out.
Right, exactly. They took the time they needed to make sure that this were, and like you said, Micah, from experience, the group FaceTime was probably one of the least prepared for even a developer beta that I've seen. By the time it gets to developer beta, there's a lot of stuff that works really well, and you're super impressed with the fact that these are still such early betas, yet they work so well. Group FaceTime was definitely, oh boy, this still needs a lot of work.
It wasn't even an iPad and Mac interface in the first beta, and I don't know if when it came. So yeah.
And I think so. I guess the question here is, we continue to see this sort of, we saw it with portrait mode. We saw it with, oh goodness, there's something after portrait mode, but I'm forgetting now. Basically, what is that?
Portrait lighting?
Yeah, I think it was all of these things where they announce them and they say, but it's going to be coming later, and it's going to start out as a beta. And that is interesting because when we had that with AirPlay 2, for example, then there were lots of, sort of funny, jokey jabs online about like, oh, when's it actually going to be coming though? Oh, we haven't seen
the worst product at launch because it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Do you think though that it would be a better idea to have them not say what's going to be coming, because then people get a lot of anticipatory anxiety about when is it going to be there? Because Apple used to you would get it and you were really, really happy that it had it. It didn't really talk about this is going to be coming up later. I think that what they're trying to do is kind of stem like, there's even more things that you're going to be able to use this for. But we demand immediacy. Our ability to delay gratification has gotten so weak that I don't know if people are really.
I think they have very few.
That was going to be my question.
Events, and they need to have big flashy demos on those events, and things that they've shown off tend to demo really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And if they didn't, like if they kept FaceTime groups a secret, or they weren't sure about it, we wouldn't have gotten that demo, and then maybe it would have been quietly announced or something. So I think if they're reasonably sure it's going to come out, or they're happy to release it in a beta, like they're not releasing FaceTime as a beta. It'll still be in the beta, but they're not putting it on everybody's phone and saying FaceTime group beta. So I think this is a situation where in AirPlay 2 was, when you're dealing with complex network systems, things can go wrong that you don't anticipate, and then they have to, like, they're fairly sure, so they announce it, but then something goes wrong and it's just not ready. And it's better to hold it back than to give people a terrible experience.
Yeah, so it's almost like it needs to have that time where it's being tested by developers and members of the press and whomever else has these betas. And then we find those issues. And then they're like, okay, now we found these things like we couldn't find among ourselves because there aren't as many of us as there are.
Edge cases, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All of these edge cases. So then they go, okay, these are all things that need to be fixed, and they can't be fixed in time. So we're going to wait to roll that out, which I kind of like. I think that's good. It's maybe more a matter of like, I don't know, better. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but like if there was any communication, it's like, hey, we're rolling this out essentially to a small group of testers. It'll eventually be available to all people, but we want to make sure that it's locked tight. But I don't know. It ends up being those of us sort of in the tech field anyway that are complaining about things.
Yeah, that's true. This brings up a thought for me that I hope doesn't happen, which is I hope Shortcuts app makes it to the final build too, because at the moment it's not even technically a part of the developer build or the public beta, and it's something you have to sort of sign up for separately. I'm hoping we don't find out that the Shortcuts app is not ready yet too. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed on that.
Yeah, Shortcuts app is great. Okay, any last thoughts on that before we move on to sort of our last little fun topics?
Oh, I want a fun topic.
All right, well, let's talk about Throwboy and their new pillow its new pillow collection. Ooh. Throwboy has what's called the Iconic Pillow Collection, including the 1977 pillow, the 1984 pillow, 1998 pillow, 2001 pillow, and 2007 pillow. These are iPhone, iPod, Mac, and they're a bunch of really cool Apple hardware pillows that they've produced, and they look wonderful. And Georgia, I always think of you and your stuffies, and these would seem to be maybe at home in your home.
Yeah, I think that I like pillows. I like pillows. They're really, really cute. And so if you're interested in tech, it would be really cute to have little tiny pillows that are representing some of your favorite pieces of tech. And you can use them because they're comfortable at the same time. If you really love your phone, squish it.
These are not tiny pillows. These are pretty decent sized pillows. And I love them so much that my eyes are starting to tear up as I look at these adorable pictures. The iPhone one from 2007, I want an iPhone pillow. It's just so cute.
Can you? I love humor that's related. I don't know why, but like related to big things and small things. And so, can you imagine just holding up this big iPhone like dun, 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 dun. I don't know why I think that's hilarious, but
I just keep thinking of Mike Myers. I want you to go put your huge head down on a pillow. Head down, no.
I mean, these are so ridiculous. Like, I don't think anybody would actually put one in their house because they're so silly looking. But I love them so much. I want one in my house.
My problem is pillows automatically, no matter what I do or say, become dog beds. And so I set this down, and
that would be the cutest thing.
It would be so cute, but then they're going to get smushed. They're going to get smushed down.
No, but then you have all these amazing pictures on Instagram.
If you got the popcorn on time, the pillow wouldn't suffer.
That's true. Oh my God. Think about it. iPhone pillow and Chihuahua eating popcorn. Come on. That is an Instagram dream.
That actually, yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, I think you need to get these pillows now so that you can Instagram them with your adorable
do it
child.
fast because someone else is going to be doing it right now.
Micah Sargent's so lit.
Those of you out there listening, you better not.
It's happening. It's happening. Someone else is going to do it, and guess what? They're going to tweet it first to you.
Ah, no!
Know that you missed it.
So this is a Kickstarter project. You can pledge $39 or more to get one pillow, and things go up from there. You can get more pillows.
They ain't cheap.
They aren't cheap, but they are pretty doggone adorable. There are 27 days left in the campaign, but it's already fully backed, and then some. It's 3 times backed. So these will be coming to fruition, and then you can have all of the comfy, cozy tech your heart will desire.
Awesome.
Now, let's talk about one last thing. We got to complain about MoviePass.
Oh, yeah.
Can I just go on record saying that I always thought that this was dodgy and was going to crash and burn and die in fire, and it was just too good to be true?
Can I say something as a Canadian? I was just sad that I couldn't jump on the bandwagon right away before it crashed and burned. I was okay with that. I'm like, okay, well, you learn
go down
from your
eventually,
mistakes,
but
I just wanted to go.
I want to profit from it while you're learning.
Yeah, so let me be.
It's not my fault.
Let me be the person to say I did jump on the bandwagon early, and I meticulously read their terms and conditions before I made the decision that, you know what, I'm going to let them have my data, because to me, it was worth it, because for $10 a month, I could literally see 30 movies any given month, except for February, which would be 28.
How many movies did you watch?
I usually only ended up being a 1 movie a month person, but that's still a discount because it's only $10.
That's true. It's the possibility that makes it worthwhile. I hear you on that.
Yeah.
If you wanted to, you could have seen more.
Yeah. So then they started making a lot of big changes, and when they put restrictions on whether or not I could watch a first run film, they just blocked it out. It was Mission Impossible was the moment that this happened for me. I couldn't go see Mission Impossible, and it had already been out like at least a week, maybe even 2 weeks.
Wow.
And I still couldn't see it. And it was like a Wednesday night, so it wasn't even a busy night for that to be blocked. And I said, okay, this is it. And I canceled my MoviePass subscription, and I jumped over to the Cinemark version. And that's because I happen to have a Cinemark really close by that I love to go to. So that's the only reason I picked that particular loyalty program over, say, AMC or something like that. But I was early on the bandwagon. I was championing it. I definitely had this sense of, I know that they are using all of my information to, figure out what to sell to me, but I do that anyway with Google. So it didn't feel like it was that much different than what I'm already doing with other services. So I felt like it was worth it to give them my data in order to have this huge, great service where I could go to the movies anytime. And I'm not even complaining about the fact that they limited you to 3 movies a month. I think that's reasonable. It's very fair. But it's all the other things on top of that. So they block out certain blockbuster hits that you just won't be able to see, maybe ever. I haven't even figured out whether or not you could actually now go see Mission Impossible now that it's been out for a while. They are restricting how many movies you can choose to see in a given day to 6. So, and I don't mean you can see 6 movies a day. I mean, you get to choose from 6 on a Tuesday. These are the 6 that you can choose from. So you're limited even more by how many movies you can choose from. And surge pricing, which I've discovered shortly after it rolled out surge pricing. Basically, any movie that starts after 6 o'clock at night is surge pricing any day of the week.
Oh,
so you're going to have to pay the $2 or $3 extra for any movie after 6 o'clock at night, unless it's maybe like at an independent theater. I noticed that the independent theaters in my town didn't have surge pricing, but they ended up limiting you so much that it just became ridiculous to try to see a movie at all and any day. So that's my complaint. That's my rant.
They posted that they were having technical difficulties, and they were dishonest about the cause of said technical difficulties. They ran out of money and had to get a loan in order to open things back up, but they weren't honest about that. So yeah, all of those things equal like, ugh. I I never jumped on, like, I don't see movies even once a month really. So it wasn't worth it to me, but I did consider, I was like, maybe if I have this, I'll go see movies more. Which is funny because I probably wouldn't, but you know, in the moment you're like, oh, I have this opportunity to see all these films. But yeah, that is very frustrating, and they apparently are still trying to keep on chugging along. But all I see are people complaining like, this is not what it originally was. And this is just like, I might as well just buy a movie ticket. So I'm curious though, how do you like the Cinemark deal? Is that good? Has it been good?
Yeah, so Cinemark's deal and AMC has a similar program, though I don't know the details of their pricing and how many movies you get. So I'm not going to speak to AMC specifically, but for Cinemark, it's $8.99 a month for one movie per month, but you can also tack on a second ticket for the same $8.99 price. So my partner and I don't have to both pay $8.99 a month to go see the movies. I can go with him. I can go with somebody else. That second ticket, it's for anybody that you want for $8.99 a month. Plus, you get 20% off of concession, and you don't have to pay online fees when you purchase your movie ticket through the app. So I love to pre-order my ticket.
Yes.
The Cinemark that we have by my house lets you pick your seat, and you have those big, comfy, cozy luxury seats.
Nice.
And so I can pick it way ahead of time. I think it gives you up to 30 days ahead of time. So for big run movies who have advanced ticket sales for a movie that's not even out yet, you can do that. You can order that ticket and you have it ready to go. So Star Wars. And so for me, it's actually super great. The one complaint that I have is that at least right now, I want to go to another movie right now, but I'm limited by it's not even once a month. It's once every 30 days. So I think I saw a movie on August 16th, or no, it's only the 17th. So it must've been like August 13th. I won't be able to go to the movies again until September 13th at the $8.99 price. So it's a little, but I can upgrade because they have tiers. So I could pay more and get the 2 movie a month tier or the 3 movie a month tier. Actually, I think I just confused that with a different.
This is why I just buy tickets, because it's so complicated for me.
Yeah, I love going to the movies, and I love the idea of being able to find a way to reduce the price of going to the movies from the $12.75 that I normally pay. So I'm all in on any kind of way I can save money to do it.
Yeah, plus getting some money off on concessions is nice.
Yeah.
Because that stuff is expensive.
Expensive and not that tasty.
Like Henry probably spit out that popcorn.
You're missing out. You're missing out on the joy of going to the theater and getting a bucket of popcorn and a giant soda and some candy making yourself sick on it.
That's
true.
My
God. No soda. No, thank you. But the rest of it, sure.
It's my favorite.
Yes. Any last thoughts on that?
You heard my thoughts.
Yes, the thoughts have been shared, and I think that's gonna do it for us this week, folks. I want to thank all of you out there for listening. It's time to go around and figure out how people can get in touch with you all online. Georgia Dow, thank you so much for joining us. If people are looking for you online, can they find you online? Do you exist online?
Kind of. I've been changing my Twitter usage, so I'm not really on there that much. But you can always just send me an email. Would probably be the best way, Georgia@iMore.com. Because really, I'm on Twitter the underscore. It was the underscore that really embittered me. But if you're dealing with anxiety, depression, relationship stuff, you can check out anxiety-videos.com.
Excellent. Renee Ritchie, if people are looking for you online, where can they find you?
I am at Renee Ritchie on all the social platforms, and I do videos and podcasts every day at Vector, so you can check out those and hear me blathering on even more than I did today.
Beautiful. And Lori Gill, if people are looking for you online, where can they find you?
They can find me at Appaholic, APPAHOLIK. They can find me at Lori. The Appaholic is Twitter. They can find me at Lori Gill. At other social things, they can find me at iMore doing the writing. And let me take a moment to talk about how much I loved having Georgia back on the show. Thank you so much for coming back.
We survived.
You might regret that later. Thank you.
Welcome back, Georgia.
Yes. If you're looking for me online, you can find me at at Micah Sargent on almost all the social things. You can also go to chihuahua.coffee. That's CHIHUA.coffee to get links to all the different things that I do. You can find us all writing over at iMore. And we want to thank Jim Metzendorf for editing this show and making us sound beautiful every week. Thank you so much, Jim. We will, of course, be back next week with lots more. And I hope that if you are on your weekend, you're having a great weekend. And if you are experiencing your next week, that you're having a great week. Thank you so much for listening. And goodbye. This has been the iMore Show.
Goodbye.
He snapped. He's gone.
Again. It's gone again. I don't think it's supposed to work that you're supposed to be gone.
You live.
Snap. I think that everyone else, we were supposed to then disappear.
1.5 of us are supposed to be gone.
I'm watching sunset over a grateful universe of podcasters.
Oh my,
Deep,
if you snapped and removed half of podcasters, that'd be scary.